And the arguments being made is that you want to buy land because it's going to be scarce and the community is going to be built around there. But who travels by walking in the metaverse? No one travels by walking. So what do you mean scarce? If I know there's something good happening, I'll teleport up there. I won't walk in the metaverse. But then it comes down to the XR metaverse. What about the XR metaverse? For example, what I mean by that is Bukit Bintang, I believe, is a famous place there. Like in Dubai, it's Sheikh Zayed Road. It's prime real estate. But who owns that? And what do I mean by who owns that part of the metaverse? So as a storyteller, if I'm building a whole world as Meta's metaverse, now what do I mean, first of all, by the XR metaverse? So imagine Bukit Bintang out there, and you decide that you want to put an ancient or a futuristic structure in AR permanently locked down there, in where the small McDonald's sign is there. You could see that. Well, you could put something in front of it, maybe a digital arch or some kind of branding of McDonald's that's futuristic looking or even ancient. And what platform are you using? Okay, you're using Facebook. So you're using Instagram or you're using Snapchat. And so when you have Snapchat, you open it up. Now, what happens when Instagram, like if you're using Snapchat and you did that whole branding out there, what happens if you're using Instagram? So let's say some big ad agency was paid to use Snapchat by McDonald's to put up a whole digital facade in front of them in AR. Great, the campaign is going very well. Someone else, let's say Burger King, says, "Oh wow, that's great." Pays Instagram, a lens developer for Instagram, to put one over that. So people with an app that is using Snapchat at that same location is looking at McDonald's branding. People who are using Instagram are seeing Burger King on top of that. It's like hijacking that space. So in the end, who controls the metaverse, or these metaverses that will be around us as AR goggles get done? Does Apple control it? Because Apple will have their own ecosystem. They're not open. There is the Open Metaverse Alliance, I think, Open Metaverse Forum. It's got all the big people in there. And guess what? Apple is not part of it because Apple wants to do things differently. And you can tell by my tone of voice, I'm not a fan of Apple for doing that. WebXR, which today on your Android device, you can literally have AR without needing to download an app through WebXR, or to WebAR rather, AR and XR. But Apple does not support WebXR. Apple does not support progressive web apps because they want you to go through the Apple iStore. So anyway, that aside, Apple will have its own metaverse. What happens if Google decides to do one and this Meta? What happened if the telcos, the people who, you access the internet to some telco, through some communications center network. So in Dubai or in the UAE, we've got two. We've got one called Etisalat and the other one is Du. So both of them can definitely be controlling your access to the metaverse if they want. Or does the Ministry of Transportation control that road, saying any digital overlays out here has to be authorized by us? We can also get into areas about, let's say, avatars. So your avatar will be walking in this metaverse. What happens if I steal your identity? What happens if I hijack? And we know NFTs are being hijacked all over the place, right? When you have an avatar as an NFT, what happens if I hijack it? And 10 years down the line now, you're walking down the street and you think it's me as my digital self, but actually I'm spoofing someone else out there. So this, what I like about this whole thing about the metaverse and storytelling is that it opens up your mind that can actually drive real conversations in an incubator, in a think tank, that we then come up with regulations, or we come up with some way of navigating the metaverse through the stories we're telling as animators, as game designers, as filmmakers. And this can then go out to the regulatory bodies, to the government, to actually think ahead before disasters happen. So again, metaverse is great. We have the VR metaverse where you're jacked in, and I call it the XR metaverse when it's out and it's pin registered to the real world. I think I can. Did everyone get some of these concepts? I mean, they're not grounded in like, they're not forged in stone out here. It's just food for thought. But what I believe is that we need to connect with the past through the metaverse, which affords us a great medium to connect with the past, an intuitive way to evolve our future. Learn from the mistakes of the past, or get inspired by some good stuff that we have now degraded as we are moving forward in life. Build our own oasis. I mean, everyone's seen Ready Player One, I believe. So we built our own oasis in the metaverse, something that's sustainable, something that can evolve and it can bring people together rather than where it's actually pushing people apart in the real world. Maybe like-minded people meet in the metaverse and actually evolve as a species forward.